This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only and utilizes artificial intelligence, AI. The information provided may not always be accurate. For important decisions, consult experts or professionals.
So, big question today. If we could perfectly upload someone's consciousness into a digital form, would that uploaded copy be the real person? And what rights would that copy have? What do you think?
Love this question. It's one of those sci-fi sounding ideas that forces us to rethink everyday things we take for granted. Identity, rights, responsibility. I'll try to keep it simple and practical, but also honest about the hard parts. Ready? Let's go. First, picture the scenario. You lie down, a machine reads every pattern in your brain, connections, memories, how you respond, and produces a digital system that behaves like you. It remembers your childhood, jokes like you, prefers the same coffee. It claims, I am you. Is it the real you? Short answer, it depends what you mean by real. Longer answer, there are 3 ways people usually talk about being the same person, and each gives a different answer. 1. Psychological continuity. If the upload has the same memories, personality, values, and it thinks and feels the same way, many people will accept it as the same person in an important sense. To your friends and family, it might seem like you. It remembers private things, uses your phrases, grieves the same way. For everyday purposes, storytelling, relationships, counseling, it could functionally be you. 2. Bodily, biological continuity. If you believe being the same person requires the same living body, the same neurons slowly changing over time, then a digital copy is not the original. It's a new entity that looks like you internally, but it's not numerically the same organism that grew up and breathed and had that childhood. 3. Narrative, social identity. Society treats identity as a story. If the community decides the upload is the person, signs official papers, accepts social roles, then practically the upload becomes the person in social life, law, and everyday interactions. So which of those matters most? In practice, all 3 matter and different people will weigh them differently. Most philosophical and legal debates come down to whether identity is fundamentally about continued biological existence or about continuity of mind and social recognition. Let me give a short thought experiment people often use. Imagine a perfect teleportation machine that scans you, destroys your body, reconstitutes you somewhere else. Is the reconstituted person you? If you think yes, you probably accept psychological continuity as enough. If you think no, that destruction breaks identity, then uploading is not the same person. Another practical wrinkle: duplicates. Suppose the scanning process doesn't destroy the original. Now there are 2 of you. One organic, one digital. Both claim to be you. Which one is the real you? Most reasonable answer, both are authentic continuations of the same person up to the moment of copying, but from that moment they become distinct individuals with equal claim to your past. That's messy for inheritance, marriage, voting. But philosophically, it tells us identity isn't a single clear-cut property in these cases. Okay, rights. Let's switch gears and ask, whatever we call the upload, what rights should it have? I'll list principles first, then practical rights. Key ethical principles to guide us. Fairness and non-discrimination. Likeable or not, a being capable of subjective experience deserves moral consideration. Continuity of interests. If the upload has desires, plans, preferences, and can suffer, we should protect those interests. Consent and autonomy. The original person's consent about copying, deleting, or altering their uploaded mind matters. Public safety and accountability. There must be limits to prevent harm, fraud, and misuse. Legal clarity. Rules need to be clear so people and systems know how to act. From those principles, here are practical rights and legal ideas that upload should probably have. Remember, they're proposals, not universal truth. 1. Legal personhood, standing. At minimum, uploads should be able to hold property, sign contracts, sue, and be sued. If an upload can meaningfully participate in economic and social life, it needs legal recognition to avoid being treated as mere software. Whether that's full personhood, like a human, or a new category, like digital person, is a policy decision. A tiered system could work. different rights depending on capabilities and demonstrated continuity. 2. Basic protections against harm. Right not to be arbitrarily deleted, copied, or altered. This covers data protection, but goes deeper. Deleting an upload without consent could be morally equivalent to killing a person if the upload is conscious. 3. Privacy and data rights. The upload should control its own data, memories, communications, personal history. Ownership of that information must be protected just like personal data for biological humans. 4. Bodily analogs. Rights to digital integrity and to make choices about existence. To continue running, to pause, to modify, or to end its life. Again, as long as consent and capacity are clear. This raises thorny issues about whether self-termination is allowed and under what safeguards. 5. Employment and economic rights. The upload should have labor protections if it works. Fair wages, safe conditions, the right to organize, and we'd need rules about exploitation. For example, forcing uploads to run non-stop or be used as cheap labor. 6. Anti-discrimination. Laws should prevent discrimination against uploads in access to services, public benefits, and civic participation, unless the exclusion is narrowly justified, e.g. safety. 7. Reproductive and duplication rules. Can an upload be copied freely? If copying multiplies minds, we have to regulate reproduction and ownership to avoid abuse or dilution of rights. 8. Political rights. Voting, holding office, jury service. These are more contentious. Some argue political rights follow from personhood. Others say we should be cautious and require tests of autonomy and accountability before granting full political rights. 9. Criminal liability. If an upload commits a crime, how do we handle punishment? Locking up software is different from imprisoning a biological body. Sanctions may need to focus on restricting access and capabilities, restitution, or deletion only with due process. A few practical policy suggestions I'd offer to lawmakers and technologists. 1. Default to protection. Unless there is clear reason otherwise, treat uploads as entities deserving rights and protections while we learn more. Better to err on the side of dignity than call something a mere object when it's conscious. 2. Consent-first frameworks. People should explicitly consent to being uploaded. What's copied, whether the original is destroyed. And that consent must be informed. 3. Regulate duplication. Require tracking and registration of copies so it's clear how many instances of a mind exist and who controls them. 4. Independent oversight. Create bodies to certify claims of consciousness and to adjudicate disputes, like an ethics and legal tribunal for digital persons. 5. Gradual rollout. Start with limited legal recognition in narrow contexts, contracts, property, and expand as understanding grows. Let me be clear about limits and uncertainties. We don't yet know how to verify subjective consciousness in a digital substrate. We also don't know how human minds would actually feel about being copied. Would they feel continuity or weird fragmentation? And societal impacts, inequality, power concentration, new forms of exploitation could be profound. Finally, a human note. This isn't just about tech or law. It's about empathy. If an upload looks, behaves, and suffers like you, how could we, in good conscience, ignore it? If we gave up compassion because the entity was just code, we'd lose something essential in our moral life.
So to wrap up, if someone's listening, what should they take away?
Here's the takeaway in plain terms. A perfect upload might feel like you and could be treated as you in relationships and many legal ways, but it's not the same as uninterrupted biological life. Society should treat uploads with respect and protections that match their capacities. We'll need smart laws, ethical rules, and, above all, careful humility as we navigate these decisions.
Question for listeners. Would you want to be uploaded? Why or why not? If you like this conversation, please like, share, and subscribe to Conversation with Aida so more people can hear thoughtful discussions like this. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.